Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. Today I am so excited because I wanted to introduce you to a brand. This is Commodity Fragrances and the concept of scent space. I'm so excited because I have heard of this brand before. I have been intrigued by Commodity Fragrances, but they have gone a step above and created scent space. And scent space means that you have greater control over the intensity and projection of the fragrances. For example, the row up here on top is going to be the personal scent space, and so this is going to sit a little closer to the skin. The middle row here is going to be expressive, and this is supposed to give the perfect balance between longevity and projection. So this will be a bit stronger than your personal skin scent up here. And then this bottom row is going to include the bold fragrances, and this is going to be for those of you that want to make a statement. So in this cool discovery scent, I have got 6 of their most popular commodity scents here in all 3 intensities. So what I thought we would do today is I would introduce you to commodity fragrances and then walk you through my own experience with this exploration kit. I don't know about you guys, but I always love following through a nice little quiz of how to discover your personal favorite fragrance. This is a method that they use to have you experience these fragrances and narrow it down to your favorite fragrance. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do that together today. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about commodity fragrances and scent space and want to learn more about the exploration kit, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first let me tell you a little bit about Commodity Fragrances. This is a really unique and cool brand in my mind. Basically, they believe that the art of perfumery should be intuitive. They want to demystify fragrance, which I know can be overwhelming to some, and they want to simplify it and make it a little bit more accessible. This is also an ethical brand. Their fragrances are unisex. They are cruelty-free, paraben-free, and phthalate-free, but they realize that this is the first step on an ever-evolving journey, so they've created a roadmap on their website to hold themselves accountable and for you to follow along. They have also collaborated with some of the world's most accomplished artisans. They've created a spectrum of exceptional fragrances for your intuitive discovery. And this is what I like about this brand because it really walked me through a different way of thinking about fragrances and experiencing them. So first of all, I wanted to show you what you will get if you decide to get the exploration kit. And then once you open it up, you are going to see that you get 6 different fragrances in the different scent concentrations. So I think this is super cool. And the fragrances that are included in here are book, and that is going to be described as dry, woody pages bound together by a crisp cover. A trilogy of nostalgic, crisp, woody scents centered around cedarwood and sandalwood. Love that. Then we've got gold, and this is described as a warm and lustrous material to be desired. A trilogy of warm, glowing scents spotlighting vanilla, sandalwood, and amber. You guys know I'm gonna love that one. Velvet, a luxurious fabric woven from silk for a dense, soft rose petal texture. The trilogy reveals the true indulgence of roasted almonds, rose petals, and amber. Then we've got moss, and that's a fresh, green, and earthy plant that lacks true roots. The trilogy of fresh green scents highlights bergamot, oak moss and petitgrain. Then we've got paper, which I've heard about before. Crisp sheets manufactured from the pulp of wood. A trilogy of true molecular skin scents thanks to sandalwood and ISO-E Super. And then last but not least, we've got milk, and that's going to be an opaque white liquid rich in sweet creams and fresh woods. A trilogy of caressing woody scents filled with skin musk, tonka bean, and mahogany wood. Oh boy, these all sound really interesting. And then I wanted to talk about scent space. And the top row up here is going to be the personal scent space. So that's going to be for those of you that do love fragrance, but you want it to be softer, subtle, much more intimate. You are not necessarily wanting to make a statement with your fragrance. This is for those of you that enjoy a little bit more ethereal, lighter fragrances. The concept of the personal scent space up here is going to be less is more. And honestly, I think all of us can fall into that camp at certain times. And I think that's another reason I love this whole concept, because you may end up falling in love with a fragrance in each of the expressions, and then you can match your fragrance to your mood of the day. This next rose here is the same exact 6 fragrances. This is going to be in the scent space that is expressive. And the expressive scent space is going to be the perfect balance between the longevity and the projection of the fragrances. So these are going to be for those of you that want to make a statement with your fragrance, but you don't want it to be overpowering or in your face. You want it to be that perfect balance where, yes, someone can smell you, you might get a compliment, but it isn't going to be like, whoa, she put on so much perfume. This is just going to have that perfect balance of being noticed, but not necessarily being in your face. And then in this last row here, we have the bold scent space. And this is for those of you that definitely want to make a statement with your fragrance. You want others to notice you and your fragrance. And this row is going to be infused with more exotic notes that are going to make you stand out in a crowd. And I'm excited to experience those too, because there is definitely times when we want to make a statement, and it's nice to have a little rendition of your favorite fragrance in that more bold, make a statement, I'm here kind of fragrance. In your discovery set, they're actually going to share a method of how to choose your favorite fragrance. So what they are recommending is that we start by picking out the scent space that we want. So kind of asking yourself, are you someone who typically likes more subtle, ethereal fragrances? Do you fall somewhere in between? Do you like to smell your fragrance, but you don't want it to be overpowering? Or are you somebody who definitely wants a statement fragrance? And honestly, for myself, there is times when I want all 3 of those scent experiences. Sometimes I feel like I just want something soft and subtle for everyday wear. There's other times when, of course, I want that expressive one where when I hug someone, I make it a compliment that I smell good and I smell good for myself. And then there's times when I'm feeling a bit more sassy. I want to make a statement with my fragrance, and then I'm going to be picking something from the bold expression. So that's the first method, is deciding on how strong you want the fragrance. And they're suggesting, if you are new to fragrance, to start with the expressive row, because this is going to be the perfect balance. This is going to be the ideal balance between projection and intensity, and are perfect for everyday use. Then once you find your favorite fragrance, then you can experience it in its more subtle form and its more bold form. And although I'm not new to fragrances, I thought it would be fun to start with the expressive row, since those are going to be the perfect ideal balance and the ones that most people are going to enjoy. So let's go ahead. They even provide you with tester strips, which I think is so great. And I'm going to quickly label these and we will walk through each of the scents. Okay, I have gone through and sprayed on a little tester strip of each of those fragrances, and I'm just going to walk through quickly with you and we're going to narrow it down to my favorite. So the first one I am experiencing is Book. Okay, so with Book, this is definitely a woody kind of dry scent. It does smell like you are visiting a bookstore, almost like a used bookstore. So there is some of that, I wouldn't say dusty nature, I would say it's more dry in nature. And I'm also smelling a bit of creaminess in here, so it's not too dry for my taste. I tend to like a little bit more warmer, creamier scents, and I'm smelling the sandalwood kind of shining through in this one. In the Expressive formula, it says this crisp, woody fragrance tips its hat to the Hemingways and Fitzgeralds of the world, conjuring the warmth of a quiet moment curled up with a good book. Its complex blend of eucalyptus, cypress, and creamy sandalwood results in an unexpectedly fresh scent. And yes, I would completely agree with that description. And although I like this one, this is not love at first sniff. So I'm going to put that over here and we're going to move on. Next up is Gold. And this one was a love at first sniff, and I'm not surprised because I can smell that this has vanilla in here. This is a warmer scent. I'm pretty sure that this has like some amber in here. It also smells like it's got that creamy sandalwood as well. But this one is just one of these beautiful vanilla scents that has some depth. This is not too sweet or sugary. This one actually feels very sophisticated, and Gold is like right in my wheelhouse. So this was one of these that I was like, I really like this one. Let me share what it says about its expressive scent space. And it says this is strong, sleek, and sophisticated, just like the precious commodity itself, Gold. Effervescent vanilla wrapped in creamy musk and molten amber. Rich enough to bathe in, this decadent fragrance is an intoxicating journey to one's innermost desires, thoughts, and impulses. So far, this is staying in the love pile over here. Really enjoy that one. Totally in my wheelhouse, and I'm actually excited to try that in both other versions. So let's go on to the next fragrance first. I want to narrow it down to see which one I'm going to play with. And the next one is Velvet. This is tough because Velvet is really good. Okay, this one's tough because Velvet is really good too. This is also something that's going to be in my personal wheelhouse. So this one is smelling like the texture of velvet, kind of rich and sumptuous. This one I'm pretty sure has a rich ambery base as well to this. And I'm smelling some rose. So I'm feeling like this is this really pretty luxe velvet, like on a really pretty couch, like in a ruby red color or a like raspberry, like a deep raspberry color. That's what's kind of coming to my mind when I'm smelling this one. I also am smelling a bit of nuttiness. I'm not sure what the notes are yet, but it's got a bit of nuttiness in here as well. Okay, this is already going in the love pile next to Gold. And then let me tell you about Velvet. Decadently sweet, mysteriously smoky, and elegantly exotic. This woody oriental blend is infused with roasted almonds, there it is at almonds, rose petals, and black amber. A refined gourmand with a smoky sillage. Now that we have identified the nuts in here, I'm smelling that it is almond. I knew it had some sort of nuttiness in here, but it isn't one of these strong almond where you know that it is definitely almonds. Like I smelt some nuttiness and some warmth. This is very rich and luxurious. This is another one that I'm excited to try the different expressions of. So we're putting that one in the love pile, and we're moving on to moss. Okay, this is a really likable scent. This is definitely the opposite of the other two. This one smells very fresh and green, like I'm walking outside, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of moss due to that kind of lush tropical feel from all of the rain. This is really pleasant. This is really pleasant, very enjoyable, definitely on the more airy side, like I have walked outside right after it has rained and there's the sort of freshness that is going on there, but a bit of earthiness, that's what I would say. Not too ethereal, not like water. This has a little bit of depth to it and a little bit of earthiness, so I would say it's definitely grounding. And I actually like this one too. It wouldn't be something that I would reach for all the time because it's not something I gravitate towards, but I actually really like it. Okay, let's see what they say about moss. It says green and woody with a touch of morning dew. Yes. This blend of oak moss, cedarwood, and petitgrain are reminiscent of a walk through the woods at dawn, wet, cool, clean, and reviving. So yes, that's exactly it. To me, it felt like it had just rained here in the Pacific Northwest and I had walked outside and it really smelled like that. And yes, this is wet, this is cool, clean, and I can see how it could be very reviving or invigorating. So if you're somebody who likes those kind of green, lush scents, I do think you're gonna like this one. Okay, moving on to paper. This is interesting because you definitely feel like you smell paper. I have another fragrance that smells like paper. Oh, that's from another from Le Labo. That's kind of based off of a paper scent. And they can be kind of addicting. Like I wasn't sure if I would actually like a paper scent. But there is something warm in here. I'm definitely smelling a little bit of warmth. There is a crispness about it. There is a dryness about this fragrance, but I'm also getting some warmth from here. I'm wondering maybe it's probably sandalwood. This is definitely a more dry, a little bit lighter, subtle scent. So as the name implies, paper, this is definitely going to be more of a drier scent. I am finding it to have some warmth though, so I'm curious to read how they describe this because there is a crispness about it. There's definitely a creamy undertone on the bottom of this, so obviously woods, because that's going to be what paper is made of, but they do a really nice job of straddling a little bit of crisp and a little bit of warmth in this. And this is a like as well, and honestly, so far from what I've smelled, I've liked all of them. And of course, there's a few of these that are clearly more in my wheelhouse, but there's not a bad one in the bunch so far. There's none of them that I would not wear. This one is going in the like pile, and this one is, and then let me tell you what it says. It says, paper celebrates creamy sandalwood as a skin scent. The dry down reveals a crisp cedarwood reminiscent of fresh linen, a unique scent experience for each wearer. And I think that's true. All fragrances smell a little bit different once we put them on the skin. Again, I like the idea of that one of the fresh linens. That's a really good way to describe that scent. And then last but not least, I'm excited about this one, is milk. And, ooh, okay. Okay, so you guys, this one is very rich. It is definitely creamy. I feel these milky accords. This one is also very like woody. Woody, creamy. I feel like there's some spices in here. And it's a bit sweet almost. So this has some sweetness. What's coming to my mind right away is like condensed milk, but not quite as sugary as condensed milk, but the texture of that condensed milk, which is really luscious and creamy, I feel like there's some spices in here, but I'm not exactly sure. But this one is going to be richer and denser, and I think, and in my mind, this is like condensed milk. I'm suspecting that there's tonka in here because it's got that sort of rich resinous feel to this fragrance. So rich, kind of decadent. When I first thought of the word milk, I thought it might be a little bit lighter and ethereal, but this is definitely richer and denser. Okay, I think this might be in the love pile. We're going to have to narrow this down, but that one's definitely super interesting and intriguing. Okay, let me read about this one. It is a marshmallow fragrance. There we go. Enhanced with mahogany wood and tonka bean. The cold milk accord adds a cooling element to an otherwise rich and warm fragrance. And definitely this is rich and warm. And that's interesting about that cold element because I definitely am getting that rich density in this fragrance. And the marshmallow, that is an excellent way to describe this. Okay, this is going to be hard. Okay, we're taking a break just to kind of think through which one I'm going to pick. And now I'm quickly going to go through and rank these fragrances. And it's on a scale from 1 to 5. So let's go through these again and I'm going to rank them real quick. So I'm starting with Book. And the dry down of Book is really nice. I'm going to put this at a 3.5. I almost want to put 4, but to be honest, I know I like all of these and I need to narrow it down. Okay, then let's go back to Gold. That was initial one of my love. Okay, I'm going to put that at a 4.5. Okay, 4.5. Then I have Velvet, which again is really pretty. The smoke has come out on this one as well. I'm going to put that one as a 4. That could also be a 4.5, you guys, but we got to narrow it down. Okay, let's go to Moss. I really like that one as well. It's not typically something I would pick, but I'm going to put that at a 3.9, almost a 4. And then we've got Paper. Paper, as it's dried down, is sort of disappearing from my nose. I'm going to put that at a 3. And then we're going to smell Milk. Okay, Milk. Wow. Okay, Milk is up there, you guys. This is going to be tough. I'm going to put that at a 4.5 as well. Okay, this is tough, you guys, because all of these fragrances are good. So I can just say that there's not one of them that I don't like or I wouldn't wear. But of course, there's some that I love a little bit more. And my top 3 are going to be Gold. Really love that. Velvet. This is tough. And Milk. Okay, this is really hard for me because I love those top 3, but I'm going to pick one, and then it's going to have you smell each expression. So you're going to smell the more personal expression of it as well as the bold. So for today's video, I'm going to go with Gold because that was my initial love. Just going to say it inched it out just a little bit more. And you guys can let me know if you want me to do more videos on this line. We can do this test again and go through the entire like bold and personal, but for today's video, I don't want it to be forever. I'm going to pick the other expressions. I've got the personal as well as the bold, and I'm going to spray those on, and this is in the Gold scent. We're going to start with the personal. Okay, so this is almost too light for me. Very light, ethereal. Definitely a bit fresher, and I almost smell like lemon in here, if that makes sense. So it's definitely going to be on the cleaner, lighter, brighter side of the overall gold fragrance, which is a vanilla amber creamy sandalwood fragrance. So I'm getting more freshness in this one. So to me, this one has a bit of that marshmallowy smell. It's just a little bit lighter, fluffier, and it says that this is a molecular whisper of the original, and effortless vanilla shares the spotlight with the ISO-E Super. And yep, that's exactly it. So to me, this would not be something I would purchase. It's a little bit too light. I like the Expressive a lot better. So let's go on to the bold version of Gold. Okay, definitely am smelling more spices right off the bat, so definitely spicier, and I'm also smelling more smoke. And it's funny, although I like this, this to me is almost leaning a bit more masculine. All fragrance is unisex, but when I'm smelling these kind of strong, bold spices and a bit more of that smokiness, it tends to lean a bit more on the masculine side to my nose. I do like it, but I don't love it. So the winner in the gold category is going to be the Expressive mode. This is the one that's going to be balanced, where it has the perfect longevity as well as the projection, and I just really love this one. Then, because I'm curious, we're just going to quickly go through Velvet and Milk just to see what I think about these other two, since those are my top three. I know, I lied. I said we were going to finish, but since we're on this journey together, maybe you're curious too. So I'm going to take Velvet in the Personal Space scent, and let's spray that one. Okay, again, this is pretty, but it's almost too light and airy. I would definitely say these are for those of you that like those more skin scents. For myself, I definitely want a little bit more oomph in my fragrances. So just a little bit too gentle for my personal taste. Let's try the bold version of Velvet. Okay, this is definitely punched up. It's a bit darker in nature, and I also smell like patchouli. Like this one, the patchouli is shining through in this fragrance. And it's kind of that darker, deeper, earthier patchouli. Okay, so it actually says it has the addition of saffron, patchouli, and smoke in the bold version of the Velvet. It's an overdose of amber, patchouli, labdanum, and it shows off the darker sides of gourmands. So I do like this. I'd want to test it on my skin first, but I would probably say I still like the Velvet in the Expressive compared to this. I don't know, that's hard. Definitely going to play around with Velvet. That one's really pretty. And then let's quickly do Milk, because Milk in the Expressive is already sort of rich and dense. So I'm going to be curious as to what they do with the bold. And first we'll do the more personal space scent in Milk. So actually, Milk in the personal version is a bit creamier. Like it definitely feels a little bit more comforting. Maybe there's some lighter musks in here. It does have a sweetness to it that I'm really liking. It's definitely not as rich and dense. This is going to put a smile on your face. This is really nice. Like I actually may like the Milk in the personal version better than in the Expressive. It could be just the mood I'm in. The sun popped out, so it's making me want something just a little bit lighter today. And this one is just a little bit more fluffy, so it still has that marshmallow touch to it, but a little bit more like a little cashmere kiss on the skin, I would say. Okay, let me see. It says a lustrous bouquet of amber, musk, and light woods wears like a sweet and sugary hug. Okay, that's good. And then it says with that they added cashmere woods and skin musk. It is a little bit sweet and definitely feel that comfort from the musk. So love that one. And then let's try it in the bold. This one almost did a roll my eyeballs back in my head. It was like, this smells really good. This is the Expressive, and this is the Bold. And it's funny, the dry down of the Expressive had almost a teeny bit of that funk in it. Not in a bad way, but just had that little edge that makes it niche. And this has just been sprayed out, but this one does not seem to have that little edge to it. Like there's no harshness in the Bold version. And this one smells a bit more cozy. There is definitely a little bit of a smoky vibe to it. Okay, so this one says that it is added amber and firewood accord, and this is rich with notes of firewood and amber, a delightfully sweet scent with an oriental flair. So this is so interesting because I think in the milk bottles I would either do the personal or the bold. I really like the middle one as well, but if I had to just pick one between one or the other, I would most likely go with the personal version in that one, just because today that's what I'm feeling like wearing. A little bit more sweet, marshmallowy, not quite as dense because the sun has popped out. So today I am going to wear milk in the personal scent space. That's what I think is so cool about this whole discovery kit. So I'm going to play around as well with velvet and gold, but this experience really did kind of help narrow down the fragrances that I would want full bottles of. And then of course I have these amazing samples that I can play around with depending on my mood and what I want my scent space to be. Okay, you guys, this was super fun. I hope you found this informative, and I would also encourage you to pick up one of these exploration kits because this was a super fun experience and you actually get a lot of samples to try, walks you through all the different methods, and shows you how to experience fragrance. So today we started testing them on paper, but it's always very important to test fragrances on your skin because your body chemistry can be a lot different than what is on a paper tester. So oftentimes when I am trying out fragrances, I will spray them on my hand before committing to my pulse points because I first want to see if it's something that I actually want to wear, and it's easier to rinse off fragrance on your hand. So this way is easy for you to smell throughout the day as well. But let's say there is a fragrance that you do not like. It's also easier to remove that fragrance. Once you've found a fragrance that you're intrigued by, it's an important step to go ahead and put it on your pulse points. And that's going to include your neck, wrists, inner elbows. And those are the spots that are going to radiate heat and really let that fragrance shine through and also connect with the chemistry of your own skin. So we've all probably had an experience where we have smelled an amazing fragrance on a friend, and so we run out and we get it and then we put it on our own skin and it does not smell anything like what it does on your friend. So it's always important to sample fragrances first to really see if it works with you and your chemistry. And the beauty of fragrance is that it is going to be unique upon itself because you're unique, your chemistry is unique, and so when you put a fragrance on, it's going to mesh in with you, your skin. I also feel like your personality will play into it and it will become a unique fragrance. Even if you and your friend are wearing the same fragrance, it will still be unique to you, your body, your chemistry, and who you are. Okay, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this little fragrance journey today. I do have a special code for the Discovery set. It will be Abby10, and I will link all the details below in the description box. But I have to say, I've really enjoyed all of these fragrances. I love the concept. I love the fact that this is an ethical brand. And if you're like myself and you love fragrance and all the different expressions of it, I think you're really going to enjoy this Discovery set. So thank you so much for coming on this little fragrance journey with me today, and I will be back with another video soon.